Gapology Guys podcast, your source for leadership development and all the methods, tools, and frameworks from our books, Gapology, IMBAR, and Speed of Purpose. And tonight we have another great topic to talk about. How do we keep our top performers, our A players? Well, tonight we'll give you 5 tips to consider rolling into your leadership rhythm. So let's get things rolling with Mark Tinas. Hey Mark, how are you doing?
Good, Brian. How are you?
Good. I see you have your Gapology shirt on.
Oh, I love this thing. I've got a hat too, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
And a book with that name, ironically.
Yeah, you've seen a book once or twice, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and for our viewers that joining in, we're actually getting set to launch our 15th anniversary edition.
How many years?
15. Can you believe that?
That is crazy.
I know. It is insane, really. And what's actually, I think, more insane is that we haven't updated it for 10 years.
Yeah, as the world has changed dramatically. So
Right.
I'm glad we did it.
Yeah, absolutely. We did 3 updates in the first 5 years, and now it's just really lived as it is, and it's been relevant, I think, for the last 10 years. And now we felt the need to add in some additional things around like leading in the remote workforce. That whole virtual leadership piece is something sort of new. So we added in a lot of new learnings in that there.
It's so different in terms of identifying gaps,
Totally.
closing gaps.
Yep.
So different. So we updated it, and hopefully you all will love it. And it's the same but different.
Right.
Fair to say?
Yeah, I'd say it's the same. We just added in new things and enhanced what was already in there. We added in some new content around some of those topics and that kind of thing. So even if you've already read the book, I think it's worth, picking it up again and reading through again and just seeing some of our new insights that we've picked up working with clients for the last 15 years, all these new learnings that we've had and so forth. So there's a lot of good stuff in there, whether you're brand new to this or you're an experienced gapologist.
Would it be safe to say we reviewed every single word in the book?
Oh, yeah.
And decided whether or not it was relevant for the new book?
Yes. Oh, 100%.
And a lot of it didn't change.
Right.
But a lot of it did. Yeah. I mean, really, when we started Gapology at some point, we probably didn't have cell phones or GPS or...
Oh, yeah. Yeah, GPS. So I remember when we were writing this, I had a GPS in my car, but it was one of those like Garmin type things. You'd have to suction cup to the window and plug into the cigarette lighter and yeah.
Yeah. So anyhow,
but yeah, so
we think you'll love it. And we reference the framework, which you've potentially all heard about, and it's become known as, and that fits it very well. So
yeah,
it's been good.
Yep, absolutely. So stay tuned for that. We're predicting an October release right now. It's the manuscript's done. It's in the hands of our publisher, so he's doing what he needs to do there, and we'll let everybody know when it's ready. When we have a firm launch date and everything, we'll let everybody know.
Well, and for those that are having big events, they can just notify us, and we can have the publisher ship boxes of books. It's potentially easier that way. So remember that. Just let us know if you need. If you need 100 books, we'll get it handled,
right?
Pretty easily.
Yeah, absolutely. So the current version is still going to be the main one being shipped. So if you order now, you're still going to get the current 5th year anniversary edition. And we're not saying not to get that. It's a little bit more condensed than the new one. The new one has quite a bit more content in it. So if you like a quick read, you might want to pick up today's copy. But like I said, some new stuff.
Yeah, we're over 300 pages now, right?
What's that?
We're over 300 pages.
Yeah. I think we added 150, 170 pages more or something. So
yeah. And it's available in paperback or hardback.
It will be. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so we can get either one.
Yeah. So more details on that to come. We'll talk about that more later. But tonight, I'm excited, Mark. We're going to talk tonight about keeping your A players. So I had done a YouTube short on this already, and we put out a blog on this. But we felt like this is such an important topic for us to come together and have a little bit more in-depth conversation around. So how do you keep your A players? I think it's easy to assume that our top people don't need development, they don't need to grow, they don't need some of these things. But oftentimes we lose our A players because they're not getting what they actually need to stay committed to their role, to their or projects or their elements that they're doing in their work job. So
Should we define an A player real quick
yeah,
here?
yeah. So let's go ahead and really take a look at this. Let's break this all down. So when we talk about A players, do you want to walk them through, Mark, what we're
Yeah,
talking about
so for
here?
anyone that hasn't read Gapology, an A player is the top 10% of performers. So if you had 10 people on your team, it's that top one or two people. And then there's this middle B group, and then there's the C group, which would be the bottom 10% or underperformers. And in the book, we address, closing gaps with those groups. But often leaders are not focused on the A players. And that's the topic Brian brought to us tonight, which is fantastic because the greatest leaders I know were probably more focused on the A players than any other group.
Hmm.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I think the sort of the natural thing is always to work on your underperformers and trying to help fix that group. But in the meantime, while you're doing that, you sort of lose sight of your A players, and that A group can really start to suffer as a result.
Yeah. The other side of it is as a leader, you can likely learn more from your A players than anyone else. So you can get better. Some leaders are intimidated by the A players because, oh my God, they might be able to replace me. I can't have that. Versus, wow, they might get me promoted. So I look at all my bosses over the years that got promoted because my performance was great. You know the same thing, right, Brian?
Yeah.
So
Yep.
leaders often get promoted because of A players' performance. So latching onto them is important and key. The other thing is, you were getting to it there. A players may have more upside than the C players. They may have more capability upward. And so their development may be more important and more significant to the overall result. So it's it's a big undertaking, and spending time with the A players is critical.
Yeah, definitely. And along with the more upside for them individually, I think there's more upside for your organization to spend time with them. So they're already bought into the overall, I think, vision, purpose, the expectations. They're already sort of bought into that. But spending time with them, developing additional talent, additional pieces that they're needing, and really growing their mindset. Think about T times M equals P. Their talent times their mindset equals their performance. So develop their talent, but focusing on their mindset and helping to grow that can actually, I think, accelerate your overall performance as well.
Yeah, and they thrive on attention in most cases, and
Yeah.
they want more attention.
Yep. 100%.
In a company Brian and I used to work for, they announced ahead of the year the annual award would be celebrated in Las Vegas for this. So everybody, fought all year for this award, and it definitely motivated the A players more than anyone else. I mean, they went for that. They loved it. And so the A players want attention. They want celebration around their performance, and they thrive on that. So don't forget that. It's what motivates them. And in today's job market, I mean, they're prime for, going somewhere else if they find it there. So don't let them leave. So make your organization the organization that celebrates them and the organization that works on their development and creates a career path for them. They have a career path of great significance. So, and in many cases, they can replace you when you get promoted. So, so work towards that.
Yeah. Yeah,
It can
definitely.
happen.
Yeah. Something that just sort of occurred to me. I don't know if I've ever thought this through, Mark, as you were saying that when you were talking about Las Vegas. So have you found, I mean, this is a good question for you. have you found that A players are more motivated by, if you think about the carrot and the stick, those two ways to sort of motivate a team or a person, right? So a reward or some sort of negative outcome. Do you feel A players are more motivated by the carrot than those C players would be?
Yeah, they know they can get it,
Yeah,
and they know who the other A players are, and it's a lot of fun.
right,
They come to the Super Bowl every day and play against that.
right.
I I had the opportunity, I think you remember way back when, it's been 30 years now. I went to work for a company that was part of Target. And one of the first things I did when I got there was I found out who the district manager of the year was for Target in the local area. And I called that individual and asked them how they did it and what their secrets were and what advice they had for me. And then I found others around the organization that had the same, award. And unbelievably, they told me everything. They shared everything they could with me. It was motivating to them. And I put it into play and it worked for me. And I was district manager of the year that year.
Hmm. Wow, wow.
And because the A players told me what to do, they shared it with me. And A players are like that in general. They love to share the things and they love the awards, but they love to share as well. So
Right.
it's pretty amazing.
Yeah. So I think sort of the flip side of that is C players, if they're not driven by the awards, they really the only way to motivate them is that stick. And as a leader,
A corrective action document. Yeah.
yeah, who wants to do that? Who wants to live in that world all the time? It's much more fun, I think, to reward people and celebrate them and, give them standing ovations and recognition and all those things. Um, just think about your leadership rhythm. Where would you rather be spending your time? Spend it with your A players, learn from them, motivate them, keep them growing and performing. Um, you can't ignore the C group. You still need to do those things. But by doing that, you're going to learn more. They're going to learn more, and your overall performance is going to improve.
Yeah. And just to be clear, most leaders that we talk to initially spend more time with the C players than the A players.
Yeah.
That'd be
Yeah.
safe to say?
Totally. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, working on the underperformers as if the A players are going to always be A players and no big deal, leave them alone. No, they need attention. They thrive on it.
Yep. Yep.
They need it.
Totally.
And the C players are going to move up or move out. Every leader should view the C players as temporary. They either become B, the middle group, performing at a satisfactory level, or they leave, which is fine. Probably better for them as well. And the A players, again, want the attention, need the attention.
Yep.
Remember that we did a podcast on "We Are What We Celebrate."
Right. Yep.
That's really about the A players and ensuring that the achievements that they're hitting are celebrated by the organization and understood. It really affects the whole organization and changes things.
Yeah. Yep. Definitely. So we've got 5 tips that we're going to lay out for everybody today. I'll walk through each, Mark, and then if you want to sort of add some additional color to them. So the first one that we're going to talk about is developing them. Oftentimes, A players are sort of assume that they know everything. They already know how to do what they need to do. So the leader doesn't spend that time with them, like we've already mentioned. And as a result, they're just not developed. And one of the natural human needs that we have is to grow. So if the leader isn't providing that development to their top players, they're not going to feel fulfilled and they'll potentially leave. So how do we, Mark, how would you keep your A players with development?
Well, so again, the assumption might be that others need the development, the A players don't. Totally false. The A players may have more upside. Write that down. Think about that for a second. The A players may have more upside than the B and the C. So they need development. They thrive on it. They want a career. They want to move up in most cases, and so they need the development. And what you know as the leader will likely help them move forward. And again, it will help your career as well. So by partnering with the A players and developing them, your performance is better. The numbers are better overall. And you keep the A players. If another organization comes along, which happens all the time now, they hear about A players. Social media today highlights A players. They know who they are. So they go somewhere else, or they're often tempted to, don't let that happen. You be the place of development. We we talk a lot about T times M equals P. The talent of an individual times their mindset equals their performance. You need to ensure that you're always focused on the talent improvement of your A players, which also drives up their mindset, which increases their performance. That combination works well for you. And overall, your numbers will be better. Your career will be better. And again, you'll learn from the A players. I have learned more from the A players on the teams I've had than from anyone else. Yes, I've taught them a lot of things, but I've learned an enormous amount from them. Enormous. And so as a leader, I got better. And then I shared it with the B and the C players, and we were leading the company by far because of the A players. I think I told you, Brian, about the time I caught the flight to Maui to figure out why they were selling $30 more per customer than we were. They didn't know I was coming, and I walked in the door, and the A players showed me something that we then spread to 1,000 stores. The A players often will know things we don't know. I didn't know. I did not know what they knew. They knew. And it made everything better. And we were able to beat the competition because I flew to Maui. Think about it. I flew to the A player to understand it.
Yeah.
So don't underestimate time spent with the A players, balance it out, make sure it's a significant part of your rhythm to your earlier point.
Yeah. Yeah. I think we all need to fly to Maui more often.
Well,
Um,
I'm going I'm going in 6 weeks or so.
oh man. I
My
need to,
wedding anniversary.
I think you need somebody there to help do the toasts.
Okay.
Okay. Sounds good. All right. So developing them, that's really our first tip there. Looking for ways to stretch them, give them new challenges, give them fresh challenges, fresh responsibilities, those kinds of things. I think there's a lot of upside there. Our second tip is to set clear expectations and priorities. So that's the thing. So A players, they want to know what's expected of them. They want to know what the priorities are. They want to make sure that they're working on the things that matter most, that will drive the most impact overall. Your A players want to know that. Your C players could care less for the most part. But your A players, they really want to know that. So spend some time talking about reinforcing, validating that they understand the clear expectations and priorities. So what would you do here, Mark? What are some tips that you have?
Well, I think there's a number of errors that are made here. So let's say that as an organization, you've set the expectation at 95%. I'm making it up, whatever the metric is. And let's say that the A players are achieving 97. So you've said the expectation's 95, but the A players are achieving 97. What that tells you is that you've set the wrong expectation. They've set the expectation. It's 97. Whatever your top performers are achieving, you need to consider as, wow, maybe that should be the expectation. So they truly are leading you forward. You need to realize that, thank them for that, and understand that if the A players are achieving 97, 97 is achievable. What are the behaviors that equal 97? So they literally are leading you forward, the organization forward. They're showing it to you. Take advantage of it. Take advantage of it. Yeah, they're clear. You said 95. They're clear that's not good enough for them. and they know how to get to 97. So go for it. Go for it. Again, as a leader, the A players are your key to great performance and promotion. Leverage it.
Yep.
They're leading the path. You're not potentially, you're not, you may not be in the day to day of whatever it is that they are, the behavioral side of it. Learn from them. It's good. It is good. You know what I'm saying, Brian? I mean,
Ye- Yeah.
it's different,
Right.
and many leaders miss this completely.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think something that goes along with this. So if you look at expectations, you have to look at priorities. So the things that you expect to be delivered, but also the order in which those are actually, achieved. So I think we need to cut out the clutter. We need to focus these A players on the things that matter most. So, help them determine what that clutter is that they can remove from their plate and focus on the things that matter most.
Yeah, they may be able to get great advice about how to achieve it since they're likely achieving it already. Um,
Yep.
they're likely seeking promotion too. So make sure you understand their career path, their career objectives, because you can leverage that into this, and you become a significant part of it. We've seen A players become mentors for others and be able to show that they can perform at the next level. That's been great. But when the expectations are clear and you've asked the A players what they think about the expectation and what the numbers are potentially, it really changes the game. So again, for every expectation, every metric, picture a metric. Again, 95% of this. You've got to clearly understand the behaviors that equal that. The A players likely have given you that and taught you that, and they already know what they know. And that's how they're achieving 97. So you've got to know that so that you can spread it and make it a learning opportunity, a habit ladder scenario for the entire team. It changes everything, and no one will touch your numbers.
Yep, definitely. Speaking of numbers, our number three tip is to measure and post results. So here's the thing: A players, they want to win. So they want to know, they need to know where they are performing, where they're ranking, where they as compared to other people. Posting results, your organization versus maybe your highest competitor, but even within the team, where do the different performers sort of rank? They want to know this stuff. They thrive on measurement and challenge and those kinds of things. So, narrow down that your overall focus on the things that you're going after to your top 3 to 5 things. What are the 3 to 5 most important metrics? Narrow them down to that, and set that as your standard for sharing with your team.
So why do football stadiums, I think you're a football fan, Kansas City Chiefs, huh? Yeah, they're near you. Why do football stadiums put up a scoreboard?
Yeah, so we can see how many touchdowns Travis Kelsey's going to score this year.
I
That's
was
why.
thinking of Mahomes,
Yeah, how many touchdowns he's going to throw to Kelsey? Yeah.
but okay. So do you think that motivates him?
Oh, 100%.
The scoreboard motivates.
Yes.
You're kidding.
Winners want to know.
So as a leader, what you need is a rhythm, ideally weekly, where the numbers are revealed and celebrated, and the A players' performance is celebrated. They thrive on that. It drives performance higher, and it drives the C players up or out. So you've got to be good at this.
Hmm.
And what I was describing earlier was in the organization Brian and I work for, we knew what the annual award was going to be. So we looked at performance for 52 weeks, like they were NFL games, right, Brian?
Right.
but we knew at the end of the year what the end of the year award was, which was significant, huge. And so it was fought for all year. And it motivated the A players to perform at a level, again, that would teach us as leaders what we could do, what's the potential. So remember that when you look at the performance of the A players, you're looking at the potential of that metric, whatever that metric you've set. So don't don't discount that at all. If they're doing it, the behaviors are there. We can teach that to everyone. One of the things we found is that often the A players would like to be mentors to others and teach them as well. So that can really be leveraged. But in either case, don't underestimate the scoreboard. Make sure the A players thrive on it. They expect on Monday morning, I'm making up the time frame, but that's how I would do it, that Monday afternoon, whatever, they will be celebrated for their performance for the week. What if you took your business and broke it down to 52 NFL games, 52 weeks, and made the weeks of significance? So we learned to do that, and that created a year that beat every competitor in our industry. And the A players taught us a lot. It they're also, by the way, I mean, virtually every A player that I can name is an A player today and incredibly uh, successful, let's say, today. Would that be safe to say, Brian?
Yeah, yeah. I think it's sort of an innate thing that people are, it's wired into them. If they are an A player, they're going to be an A player in everything they do. In fact, I saw speaking of Mahomes, and I'm sorry for everyone out there that hates the Chiefs, but this is my point of
Well,
reference.
so I just go to that Tahoe Golf Celebrity Tournament, and
Oh
I've
yeah.
seen Travis Kelsey there, and he doesn't seem happy, but Mahomes does.
Oh,
But anyhow,
he's so focused this year. He's dropped like 30 pounds. He's focused. So, and I guess I have my Vikings, so my hometown, Minneapolis. I've got my Vikings purple going on today. Should have
they're
read
they're
today
really good
for
too.
a topic.
They
So
they, they join in. I just got back from that, so it was a
yeah.
lot of.
Well, I saw a little clip. It was like on Instagram or something. Mahomes talking to some young kid who said, "Hey, how do I be successful like you?" And he said, and I thought this was amazing. He said, just be great. Be great at everything. Be the greatest brother of all time. Be the greatest son of all time. Be the greatest student of all time. Just make sure whatever you decide to do, whatever you decide to, go in your life, be great at it. I thought that was such a great message
There,
for a young person, who
there it
wants to
is.
wants to be there.
There it is.
Yeah.
So most of us decide to be mediocre, I gather.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Absolutely.
Mahomes has it. Mahomes has it figured out.
Yeah.
I'm not a Chiefs fan, but it's hard to not love Mahomes, and it pretty amazing. So
Right, right. Plus, we have Taylor Swift. All right, let's move on to the next one. So, so number four uh, is leverage them strategically is our tip. So, oftentimes, A players aren't really leveraged; they're sort of just used. I think is the way I'd like to think of it. Where you have a top performer, top performing team, and they're sort of used for projects, maybe fix other people's mistakes, maybe they're overburdened with a lot of stuff, things that are maybe, just busy work that is consuming their time. So I think leveraging them strategically, having them, you mentioned being a mentor, I think that's fantastic. Anytime you could have them mentor maybe a B player, that kind of thing, I think would be fantastic. But, be careful. Don't turn them into fixers for other people's problems.
yeah, so most leaders, from what I've seen, Brian, leave the A players alone.
Hmm.
That huge mistake. It discounts what they could learn from them, and it diminishes the A player. But the A player certainly can be used for mentorship in a limited capacity. You don't want to diminish their A player capacity. by giving them something that they can't. But find out what they want, find out what they would like to do. So often they will like to mentor a team or a person, not everyone. And again, this is a great career path um, development piece for an A player where you can prove their ability to be promoted into your role, ideally in the future. And it's of great significance, and it keeps them with the team. In today's competitive job market, if you are not totally focused on your A players, you will lose them. They can go anywhere and they can get large sums of money to go anywhere. So don't underestimate it. So be focused on it or you will lose them. It happens. And it's very real. So you need to be about them. We wrote a book called Speed of Purpose, and one of the keys we found is if they find a purpose with your organization, and it's meaningful in their life, they won't leave. So you need to make sure you're leveraging purpose. But if it's just about money and just about things, they'll go somewhere else.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, and your A players, they carry a certain credibility with the rest of the team. So if you can leverage them as mentors and things like that, where they influence their peers, oftentimes they have more influence over that peer group than even you do as a leader sometimes. They
No doubt.
respect this person because they're in the weeds with them. So, look for opportunities for that. And also, tying back to what you were saying earlier about, listening to them, paying attention to them. As a leader, we need to we need to be a teacher, but we also need to be a student at times. We need to actually put on our student cap and listen to them, ask them questions, investigate, what they're doing and so forth, so that we learn, so that we can become a teacher around the right things. Our last thing I want to mention here is, and I think you mentioned that, talking about money. So if we don't focus on them, we can lose them to somebody who's paying a little higher across the street. So we need to make sure we're rewarding them in ways that matter to them. So financially, certainly pay them, appropriately, 100%. You need to do that, but also look at other ways that you can reward them. So what other things would you think, Mark, to discuss around that?
Well, some of it is just to care about them.
Yeah, totally.
Know their spouse's name, know their kids' names, know their birthday, know their anniversary date. Um, Develop a relationship that'll be long term with them. Let them know you care about their career. Have a developmental plan that you're working on with them. They thrive on that. Um, just make it clear that this is a long-term scenario and you're in for the long term and that you believe in them and that you're part of their development and be significant to them. Teach them things. So when Brian and I used to work together in an organization prior to this, and I carried with me 34 teachable points of view, which were let's 5-minute master classes. Write that down.
Yeah, yeah,
I like
five
that.
minute master class. That would be
5-minute
good.
master classes,
Yeah.
maybe 10 minutes. So everywhere I went, when I was with a group of significance and especially with A players, I would teach them a class on something they weren't expecting or didn't ask for. And I had 34 of them. T times M equals P is an example of one of them. Gapology was an example early on of one of them. MBAR, how to create your own identity, was one of them. Speed of purpose, how to move at a faster speed by having purpose, was one of them. And so on and so on. I had 34 of them. So when I was with that group, I would pause the group. Brian would grab a flip chart. What's a flip chart?
Yeah, I did a lot of flip charts, that's for sure.
What's a whiteboard? Grab a whiteboard.
Yeah, we didn't even
And
do
and we
whiteboards.
would chart out a master class that would be of significance. You guys wouldn't believe this. So, I mean, today I'll receive emails about, remember that thing you taught me in 1998
Hmm.
on that whiteboard? That changed everything for me, and I use it today, and it made my career. It's pretty incredible. But the A players thrive on that, and they want to be that. And when you give them that master class, that's a game changer. And again, it's taught in a form that's simple and teachable, so they can literally take it and teach it themselves from that moment forward. Do you remember that, Brian?
Oh yeah, definitely. And teachable points of view, that's really the foundation of all these little Gapology shorts that we're putting out now.
Yeah.
Is how can we teach in like 3 minutes or less some sort of message on Gapology, some sort of new leadership perspective on something. No, I love it. I love the whole perspective of that.
So the A players thrive in this. That's
Yeah.
that's the whole thing, and
Right.
they win,
Yep.
and
Yeah.
we all
So
win.
yeah. So something I wrote down and starred something you said there. Care about their career. So when we talk about the fifth tip, which is reward them in ways that matter, if you show that you really care about them and their career specifically as a leader, that's a massive thing that they might not get anywhere else. If you can sit across a desk or a table or whatever from somebody during their performance appraisal, walk through all the normal stuff that you do in performance appraisal, but then say, you know what, I really care about your career. How can I help you grow in your career? And do that in a more of a formal manner. And then while you're interacting with them in more of those informal settings, bring out those teachable points of view and just proactively improve their career by teaching them something. I think there's so many opportunities to go beyond just that extra, dollar on the paycheck. Everybody needs that. We all need fair pay, absolutely, no question. But beyond that, what are some other things that you can do? And I think leaders sometimes underestimate their impact overall.
Yeah, well said. I
Yeah.
mean, if as a leader you own their career forever, you stay in touch with them for a lifetime. You let them know that that's important to you, and they always know how to get a hold of you. And some will go on to other organizations, and if you're there for them, then it's of an amazing significance to them, and
Yeah.
again, life changing, and it's very rewarding to you as a leader.
Right.
Not only the memories, but the emails and the notes that you get, throughout the year from people who you've mentored and taught. And we've seen so many successful people, come out of the groups that we've taught Gapology to. It's been crazy. So again, we get inundated with that throughout the week, but we love it. And um, so really think about it as a leader. You own the careers of everyone on your team. You do. You own the careers of the C players. They may become A players someday. You own the careers of the B players, and those A players are going to be A players likely forever. And own it. It's very rewarding. So many of the people Brian and I have worked with have become presidents of companies, correct?
Right.
Vice presidents of companies,
Hmm.
and so on and so on and so on. Very successful. And Gapology was often at the root of it. Anyone we've known who implemented Gapology succeeds with it. It's just that universal truth that is there. Those that have captured MBAR have excelled. It's a little more difficult to understand, but it's simple. And speed of purpose is just a layer on top of that. So teach it to them, give it to them, and when they win, you'll feel that tingle on the back of your neck, I guess, huh?
Yeah. Yeah. We've definitely felt that a few times there. So I think that's a great place to leave it. If anybody has questions on any of this stuff, feel free to reach out. You can contact us through social media, or our email is contact@gapology.org. That's contact@gapology.org. So reach out, let us know. If you have questions, you want to talk through anything, we're happy to hop on a call with you. But otherwise, thanks, Mark.
Thanks, Brian. Thanks, everyone.
All right, everybody have a great week.
See you soon.
All right, that'll do it from here. For more information on Gapology or any of our other books, head on over to gapology.org for all the details. Everybody have a fantastic week. Talk to you soon.